Chris Popper here in Bangor. I'm joined by Stephen Coston down in Bar Harbor. And Stephen, I just want to, I guess, thank you on behalf of the community. I read yesterday about your incredible gift to the Connors Emerson School. Why don't you tell everyone what the gift is and why you're doing it?
Sure, yeah. Thank you for taking the time. I appreciate it. So obviously, Bar Harbor voted to construct a new school at Connors Emerson, and uh, it's been tough in terms of, building is very expensive, and the town had to take out a very large bond. So I wanted to support that effort to the best extent I could. So I decided to give $100,000 to support the library aspect of that project.
So, to give a little bit of a background, you are a town councilor and you voted against the school bond, correct?
Yeah, I was a town councilor
Oh, I'm sorry.
from 2017 to 2020. I voted against the school bond just as a citizen on the referendum. It did not come up when I was on town council, but I did vote against the bond. I felt that the taxpayers simply weren't able to uh, take that on, and that we my choice, if I had been in charge, would have been to continue to look at the options and try to find a solution that wouldn't have been as much of a burden on the taxpayers if possible. But part of the reason I decided to do this was actually because as a citizen with my vote, I oppose the bond. I feel like in Bar Harbor, the conversation publicly around a lot of things at the town office has become, very divided. And unfortunately, it's kind of devolved into us versus them. And I've been working in a number of capacities to try to change that for a long time. And I want to kind of, for lack of better words, put my money where my mouth is and show that even though the bond aspect of this I did not support, it doesn't mean that I don't believe in functional schools, or I don't believe in the kids, or I don't like that. Obviously, that's not true. But sometimes, those narratives, that's the way it goes. So again, I just kind of want to, I hope this sets an example of, how to support the community even when things don't entirely go exactly the way you would have drawn it up.
I, I've got to give you so much credit because having been on the Bangor City Council for what feels like a lifetime ago and voting against a school budget, you instantly become portrayed as anti-education. And obviously, that's not true. And it's certainly not true in your case. I mean, because as you said, you're putting up 100 grand of your own money to support the construction of this new school.
Yeah, no, the budget process was always tough, because, on the one hand, you want to support things like the school and, public infrastructure and things like that. But on the other hand, the money only comes really from one place at the end of the day. I mean, there's a couple other, revenue sources, but the bulk of it pretty much comes from property taxes. And that's tough for people. So you're between a rock and a hard place. And I've dealt with that exact situation that you described. I don't think I ever opposed an entire school budget, but I certainly had, tough questions about line items, and again, as a citizen with my vote, I did oppose this bond. And you do get sometimes painted a certain way, and I think that's what we need to try to change. We need to be tolerant of each other's different viewpoints. I think to a greater extent than what is currently happening in Bar Harbor. And I hope this will be a move in that direction. And I also hope it'll encourage other people to support the project because it's a huge project. I mean, it's tens of millions of dollars, and people are looking at big property tax increases. And the school was in really rough shape. It's something needed to be done. So I hope people that are able to will consider supporting the project.
It doesn't have to be a grant or a gift as large as yours, or I mean, the school board and is certainly welcoming gifts of all magnitudes. As much, as a dollar. I mean, kids' piggy banks could go towards helping that and symbolically making a difference. And certainly there's some people on the island that could make a much larger gift. And we encourage everyone. I mean, all you have to do is take a tour of that school to know why its renovations weren't going to be possible and why a new building is so needed.
Yep. I would encourage anyone to whatever degree you can, even if it's just, making people aware that this effort is going on, and just spreading the word about it, and talking about why this is important, and why the what all is going on here, because there's obviously a large presence of nonprofits in Bar Harbor, and there's a lot of generosity in Bar Harbor, but it's not quite as common to, I don't think, to make a donation to a project like this to a municipality or a school or something like that. I don't, maybe that's not at the front of people's minds or something, as something you would do philanthropically. So even if a gift of money isn't possible for someone, they can still let people know, and if they know somebody who might be in the position to help, they can talk to them about it. So anybody can help with that.
Why did you make a gift towards the library? I mean, reading's obviously very important to you.
Oh yeah. So I decided to direct my gift towards the library because books are just something that I'm super passionate about. I know that probably sounds cliche, but it really, for me, it legitimately was. Picking up a book was kind of a life-changing decision at one point. I didn't have a lot of direction. I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I asked my dad to recommend me a book about business. And, that really obviously put me on a path to, set some goals and achieve some things and do something here in the community where my family's from, and stuff like that. So that's why I chose that. I'm always interested in supporting opportunities around reading and education, and especially for young people. So that's why I chose to do it that way. And I hope, if kids, hear about this story or hear about this decision, I one thing I hope comes out of this is that I think a lot of kids feel like they need to leave Bar Harbor, leave Maine, leave the island, go to San Francisco, try to invent an app, or whatever, cool, trendy thing. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But there's also nothing wrong with staying here. And there's lots of opportunities in this community to whether you want to do business or whatever it is you want to do. There's actually, I think a lot of young people would be surprised how many great opportunities there are on a number of different levels in this community. So I hope that comes through too.
I think, having lived on an island, I lived in Key Biscayne, Florida for a couple of years. I grew up in Bermuda, and everybody kind of has that wanderlust,
Yeah.
and feel like, oh my gosh, I've got to get away. But the amazing thing is that once you experience that, um, you can then appreciate more, I think, if you go off to college, or not to say that everyone needs to go to college, but if you leave the island for a little bit, then you realize what was there, and hopefully then you may have the opportunity to come back.
Yeah. And I think, for some people, I think probably it has been important in their journey to, go elsewhere and then, realize, oh, wow, actually, I want to go back. But I think there are also people that maybe never, in hindsight, maybe they never should have left in the first place. Maybe they realized they never wanted to. Um, Maybe they just felt like I feel like sometimes young people, they feel like they have to do something, but there's no like real, at the end of the day, there's no real reason for that. They just feel either social pressure or like anxiety around it or whatever. So and everybody's different. So, different strokes for different folks. But I think I hope, when young kids maybe, hear about this story or wonder why I decided to do this with the library, maybe it resonates a little bit in terms of like, hey, not wanting to leave, or thinking about not leaving, or thinking about being in business in Bar Harbor or getting a job in Bar Harbor. is a very viable option. There's a lot of opportunities here. We're very lucky to be here. Not a lot of places, on an island 5.5 hours from the nearest major city have the type of opportunities we do. So we're very fortunate.
Yeah, and especially nowadays with the technology and I mean and the infrastructure that's in place, you can basically work from anywhere. So if you want to, you can stay and the main part is, I think, to give back and be part of the community. Don't be a taker, be a giver, and be part of the solution. If you have concerns, step up and chat and eh, try and contribute as best you can.
Absolutely. It's been really, really fulfilling to be able to create a business here, pretty much from scratch, and be able to provide a lot of jobs and provide uh, free housing opportunities via the business, and then to also support projects like this and some of the other projects I've supported and the business has supported over the years. It's a really nice thing, and I do hope that resonates with people and can inspire people. A lot of people already are. The business community here is great. There's a lot of generosity in this town, so it's already happening a lot. But in that department, the more the merrier. So if it inspires people to give back, I think that's great.
All right. Thanks so much for taking time today and good luck. I know you got the opening of your property on Main Street. We look forward to coming and getting a tour of that when that's getting ready to open and hope you have a great day.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you for your time.